Hello, hi. I'm just introducing my new YouTube channel. It's called the Scandinavian Appreciation Society, and it's about my interest in the Nordic countries. And this has been over many years, and I thought this is an introduction to the channel and introduction to explain the origins of my interests. Right. I said I've called it the Scandinavian Appreciation Society YouTube channel. Um, I know it should be the Nordic countries, which encompasses Finland and Iceland as well. Um, and really, when you say Scandinavia, you're only really saying Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Or if you really want to get really precise, you could just say Norway and Sweden because that's on the main Scandinavian peninsula. So so it's hard to just be clear as to where I am coming from, but I think we'll go right back to about my late teens. Now, my late teens. Well, I didn't know really anything about Scandinavia. Never really heard about them. I remember when I was 14, I think I heard an ABBA song, Angel Eyes, to be exact. I didn't know the country where it came from, and yeah, I had no idea of their fame and their recognition all over the world. So yeah, so that's one thing. What else? I can't remember. Hardly anything. I was at school. I just learnt about history. I must have learnt something about the Vikings, as in the pirates that came over here between 793 AD and 1066 AD. But that's about it, really. It wasn't until a few years later when I'd left school. Not just that I only left school. Probably when I'd left home. We're talking about when I was 19, 20. That I got my sort of first hint, proper hint of Scandinavia. Um, Now I remember when I was young. Yes, of course born in England. Born in England. Mum and dad from UK. No connection. No connection. No direct connection to Scandinavia whatsoever. So let's get that clear in the first place. And of course, I watched football. Always supported England. Never even thought about Scandinavia. Never even thought about any other country that England were playing that matters any more than England. So that's an important thing to state. Um, and I guess I was mildly patriotic, but not. I never got carried away, and identified as English. And I guess I still do. I still identify as English, as being English or British, but it's not really important to me. And it's and that's why I'm mentioning that, because that's part of my transformation, if you like. And it was when I left, as I said before, it was when I left home about 1986. There was this pop group in the charts called Aha. They played their two songs I remember at the time, and many more, of course. Take on Me, which is about November 1985 that came out, and I think in the summer or maybe the spring of '86, they had the song called "The Sun Always Shines on Me." Now it wasn't just that the music came out, that the pop group started. I'd moved home, and I'd moved in with my friend's family, and I started hearing the odd thing about the Nordic countries, Scandinavia. Um, and Yeah, I remember going to watching England play Sweden and Denmark. I remember watching that. I think I might have watched England v Norway as well. I certainly went to Wembley a couple of times, and I think around. I remember not watching England play Norway, or I think no, was it Denmark? And at Wembley, and I'm thinking, oh well, I'm not sure who I want to win here. So that's when it started to, you know, influence me, and so yeah, so I wasn't sure, so I wasn't really rooting for England against Denmark. I was, you know, quite neutral. So I would have been 21 then. So that's when the influence sort of started. And watched England v Sweden shortly after that, and still on a neutral sort of way of thinking, but who I wanted to win. And yeah, so that was that. But I'm going through football because that shows the illustration of my transformation from this sort of thinking of, you know, wanting my country to win against all countries and wanting my country to win against Scandinavia, which shows the significance of the influence of this, showing the influence of Scandinavia on me. So by 1992, I remember watching Denmark v England and Sweden v England, and the Sweden v England match in 1992 is actually in Sweden itself, and I think England scored first, and through David Platt, and after that Sweden equalised through Jan Eriksson, and then Thomas Brolin scored the winner, and I remember cheering, and that's when I know I was definitely, you know, more. I favoured Scandinavia over my own country. I preferred Scandinavia, all the Nordic countries, over my own country. There's other aspects to this, there's other reasons, and I'll go into them shortly. And of course, I've got to say the music. I mean, as I said, I was interested in ABBA, Aha first, and then I started to listen to ABBA. And my friend and his family, they like the Eurovision Song Contest, so that was an influence too on European music or Scandinavian music. And so I started to hear lots of ABBA songs then, and I thought, oh, this is brilliant. This is brilliant, and this is not only brilliant music, but it's where I hear it's where it came from, So I'm hearing good things about Scandinavia. I'm hearing good music, and that's a strong influence on me. So, yes, and flags. Now, flags. I like collecting the flags. Yes, I like the flags. I used to wear the flags. I used to collect the flags, and I have a few flags for you to show you here. And first of all, we have the flag of Finland, or Suomi, or Suomalainen, as you can see, if I can hold it up correctly. Right. So that's Finland in the east. Now we have the flag of Aha. If I can get it right way round. Yes, here we go. I don't know if you can see that very well because it's a bit big. So that's the flag of Norway. The red, the white and the navy blue. And of course all Scandinavian crosses are like right-handed crosses. So it's all to one side, about 2/3, or I think it's 2/5 maybe, to one side. And also here, now next one, this is the flag of Hans Christian Andersen. And of course Peter Kjær, if you heard any Eurovision winners, and of course you know, all the fairy stories. Right, and here is a bit further out, the volcanic island of Björk, and quite some volcanoes, and you know, shark meat in Wales. I don't know if you could see that very well, but that's Iceland. And finally, I have to show you the flag that I know best, that's influenced me most, the country I know best, and the flag of ABBA, Roxette, the Cardigans, Europe, all these pop groups, the blue and the yellow of Sweden. Okay, thank you. That's all I have. I haven't got the Faroes flag, I haven't got the Åland flag, I haven't got perhaps one or two others I haven't thought of yet, perhaps Greenland. Right, and as you can see, I've even got a bag with Norge on it. I don't know if you can see that very well. Norge, my Norge bag. So there we go. This just shows you how into it I am. Now another thing I can show you, a Swedish book. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it says Alla floder flyter mot havet. I think it's all the rivers flow to the sea. And this book here, another Swedish book, because I went somewhere on Saturday, I'll tell you that later. Slutet blir vår början. The end becomes our beginning. There we go. Now, so there we go, that's interesting. And here's one of my, the dictionary, English-Swedish dictionary. You should, and this just illustrates just how much I'm into Scandinavia. So, now, funnily enough, I do have a Viking hat. I've had a couple of Viking hats. I think one got damaged when I moved somewhere, I think. So, but I've got another one somewhere with very long horns, and yes, I wear it. I used to wear it occasionally, um, and I just when I was younger, I know it's going to sound a bit strange, a bit funny, but I used to wear my Viking hat. I used to go to the coast and wear a couple of flags and come out at sea, pretend I was some sort of raiding Scandinavian Nordic pirate, because that's what a Viking is. The name Viking is not a nationality. It means like a pirate, an invader, a raider. By the way, so that's that. So yes, I'm interested in that. I look. It's in our heritage of this country. It's in the genetics. This country. There's a quite a lot of history between Great Britain and Scandinavia and Scandinavian influence. So there we go. Now, right now I get to some nitty gritty, as you say, and so yes, there's being British, there's being English, and there's being proud of your country. Now, no, let's establish this straight off. No country is perfect. Not one single country in this world is perfect. All countries have good qualities, good things about them, and also bad qualities and bad things about them. No country is perfect. Yes, they're like Scandinavia. They're not perfect. They have problems. They have issues. They have probably more issues than when I first got interested in Scandinavia. But at the time, now this is a little bit political, and so yeah, I wasn't very. I think I've always believed in a more compassionate, egalitarian way of looking at things. I believe in a welfare state. I believe in caring for people from birth to death, if that's the right words to use. And I think you should be progressive, look to advance society, look to be tolerant and open. And you should look to find things that just lift humanity a bit, like peace, like humanitarian, like human rights, things like that. I think they're good things. They're positive things that any country should have. And I think the eradication of poverty and homelessness and and just genuinely decent things you should have in society. That's what made me think of. That's what I'm thinking about. These are the things I was thinking about. And what I will say is that so I wasn't happy with the country at the time. It was a very, at the time I'm talking about, was it in the early, yes, towards the late 80s, early 90s. We still had Margaret Thatcher in government here. We had a Conservative government, and it was very sort of I'm alright sort of Jack. I only care about myself. It's very sort of selfish ideology. 3 million people became unemployed. Social welfare is being attacked, what it is now. But there was this very sort of very materialistic time then, and But I didn't understand that as I was growing up. I didn't really think about that. But I did as an adult, and I did around that in my early 20s think about that sort of thing. And I just became ashamed to be British because I was ashamed about the sort of country Britain was. Now, I'd like this country to be better, but it wasn't, and I couldn't really see it going to be. So I'd heard about all sorts of good things about Scandinavia. Sweden, more than anything, about this really egalitarian society, a really, really egalitarian outlook on life. High standards in education, high standards in healthcare, high standards in healthcare, yeah, and just generally high standards of living. So yeah, and I heard that you know Sweden had not had a war since the time of Napoleon, 1815. So over 200 years now, not so much then, but over 200 years, and very peaceful country, involved in the United Nations. They're all involved in the United Nations. They've all have, relatively speaking, high standards of living, high taxation. That's perhaps the bad point. Um, so, you know, good, very good human rights record. They all have that in common. Very tolerant societies, very humanitarian, progressive, and they have an outlook which is friendly. And in the United Nations, for instance, they are listed as some of the happiest countries in the world, especially I think it's Denmark. Yes, and so yeah, that's a good look. That's a good way of thinking. And yeah, so they have they did have at the time a very sort of peaceful way of life, a very conscientious way of life, and so that's and so that's a good thing. So yeah, and it made me want to. In this country, I was getting so frustrated. I was out of work, and there's no future for me here. So I was thinking, oh, perhaps I can find a future somewhere else, perhaps in Scandinavia. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be great to just live in a wooden log house in the middle of a Scandinavian forest, and have a little family there, and be a lumberjack or something like that, because there's lots of trees and that's my idea. How I would do it, I don't know. I never achieved that, as you can tell. So yeah, politics come into it, the welfare state, equality, and I have to say, yes, it's an unusual concept. Person of one country having such strong fascination for another or group of countries. That's strange. Strange for my brother to understand. Strange for the average patriotic British or English person, or to understand. And I think it's probably weird for any Scandinavian to understand too. Anybody from any Nordic country would find that. Why is somebody from Great Britain And I think in some ways they admire Great Britain. Why would anybody from Great Britain want to, you know, put our countries first, or my countries first, if you're talking from the perspective of a Swedish person, before my own? I mean, that's unusual. There's nothing wrong with it, and let me make that clear. There's nothing wrong with supporting another country, because there's no law against it. Not really. When I went to school, they're saying, oh no, you can't support another country. There's no law. There's no written law about that. And I think if a country's better than your own, why shouldn't you like it? I think they do things better there, in general. And yeah, I find it. I don't know. It's just, you know, as I say, in football, when I watch England v any Scandinavian country, I want the Scandinavian to win, and I love it when they play each other. That's brilliant. That's the best. Yeah, it's weird. Very weird. As you see, I'm wearing. I don't know if you can see. Let's get closer. Yep, almost. There we go. Danish training shirt. Dansk boldspil union. So there we go. That's another example of my Scandinavianness. Yeah, so that's a lot to take in, but that basically shows you the general picture and the general outlook and the history of my fascination, or you could sometimes say obsession, for Scandinavia. Now, I will be showing a whole load more of videos about the Nordic countries and about different aspects to do with those countries, to do with history, politics, football, about actors, painters, composers, and pop groups. I may have said that, and all other things, anything else you can possibly think of. Now, I think I'll conclude my video now. Now, if you can, if you can, please like and subscribe, and I hope to hear from you, and I hope you enjoy my videos. Thank you. Goodbye.